poster of Lake Michigan with two hang up vertically, or in between these two, five rush in between the lake, or a picture of the north side of Chicago hanged in one of these rooms on the opposite pole of a wall that's in a different area than the side of the state to the left of the lake, or to the side of the state on the north of the city that could be in a different area of a different reality. That sometimes there's constructions in here, there's not just walls that relate to when I was first hospitalized, because someone called the police on me and they tried to inject me with medication at a certain time. So there's not just toward Lane and Michael Center in Chicago River, or toward South Shore and North Avenue Beach and Guitar Center, or there's not a wall in between. Imagine if I hung a picture of Guitar Center here and Michael Center right here, and then I went further here, and this is the opposite of South Shore based on the opposite left wall versus this wall, and the opposite right wall versus that wall. And then even I could go to Evanston past the lake. It's like a train line down the thing, but there's other objects besides buildings that could be a certain circle of the sun that paints the color of the picture of the day. Besides thresholds in Heartland, when I could just, people say, what's his goal? What's his goal? But I could just ride in my whip and be happy. But then I have to pay rent and management because they try to put me in a job and attack me because I was going to go somewhere in my life before some old German lady tried to give me a whooping and say he can't speak up for himself because they say that they were a Christian at a certain time when they tried to steal my identity and tell people they existed the whole time. They called the police and tried to get an identity off of me, claiming that they can just invade my household and I have to watch out because Romy might steal my SD cards and the management might come in and steal my stuff. And then I have nobody to talk to because the organized stalking happened in my life. That's an explanation for my behavior when I was in my 20s. Organized stalking happened in Virginia with nothing to do with 2004 organized stalking and after Des Plaines and after a hospital where people were trying to send people around to steal my identity and all my thoughts and all of my businesses before the Trump presidency, before the Des Plaines identity theft, and before the second term Obama presidency after the 2004 identity theft and the 2008 identity theft versus Madden Hospital after the Jaw Corp attack and the 2013 identity theft versus the Clinton presidency. So at what point did that all happen before my 2020 videos were after 2010? But my 2015 videos were after 2005, before 2010, before the 10th, 15th, and 20th of each month, and the 23rd, 31, 7th of every month in the half of 2023 toward the Rush Hospital in between the Lake Michigan North and Lake Michigan South versus another Mount Rushmore in between, and then the Hollywood line versus in between two walls to the north and south, to the top and bottom, to the left and right, painted pointing two swords to the east and west, flat paper versus to the south and west, north pointing face direction of the front wall and the front of the wall, because the things don't have a front or a back. At a time I could go back and there's a pool, but a cancer will never leave the house because it could get to a certain point where people could have children and they could be crybaby children, but try to get an identity saying he needs to go to church because they smell like musk, and they say that we can do what we want and try to enter my house, and I can't stand for myself because they can just call the police and say they want to get an identity off of me because there was no law and governor involved when they claimed that the shutdown happened and I was injected with medication, but they'll claim that they didn't exist at a certain time when they want to sue people and tell people they're crazy, thinking people are getting lawsuits off their life because they claim that they can't show it because they try to make a reality off the boy who said, don't ever fucking put your funky feet in my fucking house. So at what point did people make it clear and said, get your funky feet out my fucking house? But people thought that Jesus was speaking to them, telling people that he changed the world and that was a national change. When he looked up his storage drive on the north side, it was like one branch in this area versus a different branch with 3 floors in a different place. That caused emotion when I had my minor, a safety deposit box versus my $9 storage box. At a different time when it was an Indian lady who could steal my stuff, just like the management can steal my stuff in my house. If I'm gone, someone can just come and dig through my stuff because they have the keys, claiming that he had an illness at a certain time, that they always existed, and he was injected with medication because some crazy funky bitch couldn't give the apple to their people trying to get an identity off of me. So what point did people say, we're going to call the police on him? And they pulled out a gun on me. But they say I'm not a bitch and try to raise their children off of me, claiming that there was a certain reality when someone said I'm not a crybaby because they tried to get the best. I was 8 years old in 99 before people started stalking me. And I said, I'll smack the bitch out of you. Stop hanging with the white people. But they'll say that people died in the north side because they wanted to see in secret. At a certain time, they try to say they're chosen. Nigga, you ain't chosen like me, nigga. I'll prove it, nigga. I'll prove it, nigga. You ain't never like me, nigga. But they'll say, I'm finna call the police because I'm not a little bitch. Telling people you wanted to tell people be in the gang, be social because your crybaby ass called the police like a little bitch. Telling people that you want to hide in secret off an 8-year-old because he was always going to be what he was going to be before your crybaby ass told people it's not true, that you thought you won a championship in a certain time. So at what point did it get so dangerous for me? Because today is June 1st. Imagine June 2015 or June 2010 or May 23rd, May 2023 or May 2013 or October 2015 or imagine if it was October 2006. It will be a certain connection of the angle of all suns and captivated by a rise of 31 in 2023 versus a rise of a certain date in between, a certain connection to the start of the month and the start of this year and the start of the decade and the start of January. That could be a helium of emotion of a time people claim that I could have never got the best of them, hiding in secret. At a certain time when I put all my sciences together, some things could be going on in this house besides my walk to PNC that way after Des Plaines, and besides my walk past the Mike's job that way after my third SD card, before I have to round up all my SD cards and find what they are before I get a lawsuit and send all my information to thousands of different constructive, emotional organizations through Gmail, Yahoo, thousands of emails through different corporations related to my idea of emotional connection between not just some type of Saturday cartoon Ninja Turtle nigga, business, crossroad apartment management, TV type of thing, raw nigga, young as hell, versus some musty Mexican living with his mom calling the police on people, telling people they want a lawsuit because they existed old time. The boy was getting raped and they want to say, we can just enter his house and get a freebie because some funky president says, I'm the leader of the world and you didn't do shit in the coronavirus. So at what point do people think that a video relates to a certain reality? Because in reality, people can have millions of dollars and people could be like, wow, that's a lot of money. But at what point could you get Tyson if it wasn't for that $1 million? At what point people say, put that money away, I'm finna Tyson your ass in a certain way, you see? So people, Mr. David, he could have $1 million and people will be scared, but he could Tyson a nigga and he could get that millions of dollars before people try to say, I'm halfway left, halfway right. Ain't no halfway left. Either you a man or you not, that's it. So at what point did people say, you don't know me, I'm using a murderous gunshot to try to get people, but you don't want to relate to your tribe when you want to be protected by the white people? So eventually I've always been a GD at heart, always been a young nigga by heart, but I was too young to roll with the GDs. So at what point in my storybook of writing did I write about the hospital and the GDs, the gay fag who try to exit the hospital and inject people with HIV, claim with nasty hospital, that low population is a necessity, with Amundsen Viking, before people claim that they wanted to lock him up because they were full of hate. He wasn't some average funky Chinese girl, some average funky Mexican, before they rose against him and they scrunched their face because they wanted to hide in secret and put their funky sexual vagina feet in people's house that he didn't even know it was a real difference. You see, don't ever fucking put your nasty the fuck hands off me. I'll smack the police officer out your mouth. You faggot ass bitch. So they drew their gun on me because they were hating on me when I was going to get married. I said I was part of the GDs and the real thing. But they'll say, oh, I wanted to pull my gun out in a secret place when I smacked the white off your mouth. Don't ever fucking touch me with your crybaby white cracker ass. I don't care who the fuck is in danger. Just get the fuck away out my way or go the fuck home. So at what point did the management say, oh, I'm a Satan, I could harass people and enter people's house because they claim that they could get a freebie when this is my lair, this is my den, because I didn't want to die by murderous people, but they'll try to invade people's house and say, oh, I'm the FBI, and try to hide behind the law. At the time I said, I'll smack the bitch out of you. Get the fuck out my fucking house, nigga. I don't care if this is HUD housing. I don't care if people try to get me with disability insurance so I can't get a job, because it costs money to get a house. So when I lived in South Shore, when I had my first apartment when I was 17, I said, don't ever fucking touch me with your crybaby ass before I smack the bitch out of you.